Yes, Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means. Yeah, it means we still haven't changed the opening.
Yeah, that too.
It also means it's time for insert credits. Round 112, Repeatable Sins. Welcome, everybody. I'm MrBond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Vlad.
Hooray! The whole gang's here.
Yes.
Good to see you again.
In person.
After the remote show that we did last time, just because of necessity, you know.
Not a time zone apart.
Yeah. Work pretty well. We can still do that as demand requires, right?
Sudden work trips
Try again.
Sudden work trips aside.
Right. Well, this is a podcast we do about video games. Divided into three main segments. First, we talk about some news. Then we listen to some music. Then we talk about what we've been playing since last time. Then more music. And then we do some design at the end. Ad hoc, live, on stream, on podcast, on whatever media you are consuming presently and or in the future, if you're listening to this later.
Stick around and watch me cry.
Well, we'll see if it comes to that. We still
It was
managed.
from tears of joy last time. And
nice.
hilarity and mania. We'll call it mania.
Okay, Mania sounds fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not the Sonic variety, but
I
some
know,
other
I
way.
know.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Housekeeping. So, next show for round 113, which we've already got a title picked out
We
for,
do,
but
we
I don't
do.
want to spoil it because it's
Mm.
funny. In July, we have it marked down as the 14th. That's still good.
I think I believe you.
I mean, it's on the calendar right here, so I hope so.
Yeah.
So if that's still fine, then we've got 114 in August, which looks like that's marked for the 18th
Mm-hmm.
of said August, which means now we can start looking at 115 in September.
Fuck.
I know, right? Looks like that would be dead center on the 15th if we can swing
Hell
that.
yeah! First day of autumn? No,
No,
that's a little
that's
early.
a week
First day
before.
of Hispanic Heritage Month in the middle of the month. Huh? Okay, seems good.
Okay, sure. Did I say 115? I think I said 115.
115 on the 15th.
Yo, hey, all right, awesome. Magic numbers all the way
Oh
around.
no,
Yeah, that's
115
115.
on the 15th.
Oh no, stop.
Yeah, I know.
Damn
I know.
How dare you? But also good play. Okay, I think that finishes up housekeeping. We've got our three shows out into the future figured out. That's as much as we care to do, just by default. So, around the world then, onto some news. I've got relatively little this month because there is a multi-parter coming up that I will save for the end.
Ooh.
First, maybe some not so good news, depending, I guess. I don't know. Nintendo has issued a firmware update for the 3DS, despite the fact that they haven't been actively supporting it for how many years? Who knows? Ostensibly for, bug fixes, performance improvements, blah, 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 blah. It's for patching exploits that people use to install custom firmware. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Yeah. The good news is I think folks have already found a way around it to use other things to install custom firmware.
So that's what I thought too.
Uh-oh.
But then I went on 3dshacks.info and they're still telling people not to update unless you've installed Luma first.
Right. They're
A
telling
modern version of Luma.
They're telling folks not to update because it's much easier to do it without having the most recent firmware,
Okay.
natural
So
firmware.
they did find something
I
else.
think there was. I don't know. I remember hearing about it when it was pretty recent, and then people were all like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do now?" I was like, "Nah, relax. We got it covered somehow." It's just the steps to do so are rather extensive, and maybe not guaranteed to work. I don't know.
But worth it.
But worth it for sure. So don't update to the most official one right now if you can avoid it.
Unless you are
Before-
already hacked.
Right before.
And on a version that is safe.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
But hey, that's always nice to see companies supporting unsupported hardware by locking it down further. I hate it. In case that wasn't clear, that was sarcasm.
I was doing the I bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to cover our bases in case somebody's not watching the visual mode of this. So yeah.
That's true.
Full 4K HD.
Yeah. No. I
The
don't
bloodshot
quite-
eyeballs of Tormod.
Don't quite pump out that many pixels for this. But it is in 1080p. 60, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, well, good news though. Talos Principle 2 has been given a release date of late this year, 2023. This was first announced back in 2021. Yeah, so it's been under dev for a while. It's probably under dev for a couple years even before that. So who knows? But hey, I'm looking forward to it. I like the Talos Principle. That was a fun little 3D spatial puzzly game. So promises of more of the same is pretty nice. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right, now on to the three-parter. So last month, we talked about the perpetual news item of, is this Microsoft Activision merger going to happen?
I did not look at your notes, by the way.
Okay,
so
well,
surprise me.
This is going to be fun, you know. So last month, the UK said a resounding no. Their competitive markets authority said, no, you don't get to merge without doing, X and Y, Z, divesting some things, whatever. So now, most recently, so here's a play in three acts. First, it was rumored that the FTC on the stateside side of things, Federal Trade Commission, was going to sue to block it. That was followed quickly by confirmation from the FTC that they were working on it, followed swiftly by a request from the FTC to a federal judge to issue a temporary restraining order on the merger while they get their stuff together. Okay, sorry, I lied. 4 parts. Part 4 is that temporary restraining order was granted. So this merger, which was supposed to happen in July sometime, unless that restraining order goes away and everything else becomes kosher, it's not happening until things get cleared up. If they get cleared up.
Good.
I am familiar with this.
So yeah, it never stops. The fun never stops with this mergers and acquisitions thing. I think I'm still of the opinion that they shouldn't. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense to make 2 large things an even larger singular thing. I don't think that's going to bring a whole lot of competition to the market and or not harm people. So maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to see Kotick get a golden parachute. I know. Sorry to bring that name up, but I really want him to... Probably shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that either. I want him not to benefit.
I'll take your lead.
Very good.
Thank you for being much more restrained than my brain
Right?
was.
Like, I figure I should at least try not to go into very bad territory immediately. We're only about
And
10
or get
minutes
us
in.
banned. Yeah.
Yes, that too. So I have a feeling we can look forward to more news about this next month. And probably many months thereafter until all this is resolved, which we've been talking about it for what feels like at least more than a year already. Because I think that's when they had first announced that they were going to try to do this, was sometime in mid-2022, early 2022, something like that. And it just exhausts me. Another reason why I don't have a lot of news this month. So, what do you got? Stuff's good.
Yeah. So, last show was on release day of Tears of the Kingdom. And I had a little cry session to myself, knowing that I was hundreds of miles away from my copy.
You did get your copy, though, right, eventually?
After some begging.
Okay.
That's by don't you do that to me ever again. It's really fucking cool. Like, damn. So, some criticism of the game was that, God, this plays just like Breath of the Wild at the beginning. It's just in the air. This is boring. No, it quickly goes away from that. I'm actually... This is my little mini story review. I haven't actually touched the controller on this one yet, but like... How can I put this in a way that millennials can understand?
Well, considering you and I are both millennials.
Yes, precisely. I'm trying to convey this to my brethren.
I see. Okay.
So, this is an awful example. I'm so sorry. Remember the time between books that She Who Shall Not Be Named wrote, and you were in school just waiting for the next one to drop?
Okay.
And like, you got your fix by going to fanfiction.net.
Okay, I don't know if I can necessarily relate to that statement, but I understand where you're going with it.
So, okay. It's hard to convey the feeling. Like, you had a really well-rounded open world game with Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom came out. Many outstanding trailers. Lots of, oh god, what is this? And theory crafting and everything. Much like things that happen between those books. You start to wonder, we're going back up to the sky again. I wonder if this is the precursor to another Zelda game, etc. Wondering where it fits in the timeline. And then you see weird
Right.
beef jerky daddy, and then you get wet daddy later.
Okay.
Again, more fanfiction.net.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I am ruining this.
You're
This
not
is great.
wrong though, which is
well,
probably. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's not scary. It's realistic.
Yeah. Tag it. Oof.
Mm.
But like, as soon as you get out of the okay, it's a Zelda game. You have a tutorial level or area. If you are not the first two Zelda games, think about it.
I mean, I don't think Link to the Past really had. Well, I guess the whole Hyrule Castle escape. Yeah. Okay.
It taught you all about using the buttons and going in menus and stuff.
That's okay. That's true. Yeah.
So, okay. You get through the tutorial area. Some of the grandeur of the game becomes apparent to you. You look for familiar things and you find familiar things, but then also other things. And you're like, wow, that's really cool. And then you exit the sky. You end up back in Hyrule. Things are obviously different. But it's interesting now. So, like, everybody else is well aware of everything that happened with Calamity Ganon. They're trying to rebuild.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. Like, things have progressed in the story, so more things are happening now. And the settlements are interesting, the people's conversations and their reactions to sudden other calamitous things going on that aren't Ganon totally cough. It's interesting. It's hard to describe. I keep saying interesting because it is. It's just it has this feel to it. Like it's self-aware in a way. Like there's a lot more kind of on the nose humor going on.
Okay.
Some characters have definitely changed. Huge glow up. I'm not gonna say who. But goddamn girl. Like, come on.
I think I know who you're talking about by that alone.
Yeah, okay. It's just really interesting. I don't know how else to say it. Like, the mechanics have deepened some, and while things aren't the exact same in gameplay as they were for Breath of the Wild, it feels more integrated in a way, and like those mechanics are more thoroughly a part of the world. So the new stuff opens up a lot of possibilities. I'm not going to spoil things. I know a lot of people haven't opened it yet. But what I'm trying to describe is like the general feel of how things are now that you're in Hyrule again after the events of Breath of the Wild. Things have happened to both you and Zelda. And there's some weird shit afoot. And you're trying to figure it out. Like, familiar people are in unfamiliar places doing unfamiliar things, and there's just more going on. There's a lot more of, like, people living their lives. Like, there's settlements being built, people training. The effects of the thing that happened at the beginning of the game that you see in trailers are active in the world, and people are trying to figure it out. Like, just like you, the player character, and you, the person playing the player character, they don't know either. And they know a little more than you because they've had some time to start reading into it and researching and going to other regions and things like that. But there's just this really interesting I'm going to keep saying it. Drive. It's not super linear. It's not super frantic, but there's a sense of urgency there. And it would be more frantic if something else weren't happening at the same time. That was really confusing the fuck out of people.
Hmm.
So you can go in several directions. There are main quest things that make sense to continue doing, but you can largely explore the map that you're used to and more. And it's really cool. It's good. I enjoy watching it. It always makes me want a little more because it's like you're not the same books. It's like you're reading a fiction book as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's going to get this reference. Okay, so there was this book. I don't remember the author. There was My Side of the Mountain and The Other Side of the Mountain were two books. And it was about this kid who was surviving in the wilderness and whatnot. And just the way that that story was told didn't like overfeed you with information, but it really described things in a lush way that you kind of wanted to know what was going to be around the next corner, but it wasn't like it was a mad dash and tumble through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's how that story feels to me so far. There's a lot happening. A lot of things are really familiar, but there are both subtle and large differences. And the amount of exploration you can do and directions you can go are really fascinating considering what's going on in the main storyline as you do it. So, to me, it feels like the story is a lot less predictable. Even with Breath of the Wild and it being open world, you had your choice of go directly to Ganon and beat the game if you wanted to. You had your choice of going and getting the assistance of the Guardians,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because realistically speaking, those were your dungeons for the game. Or you can go do a bunch of side quests and find things, get better equipment, find better weapons and armor and collectibles and stuff like that. But in the end, it was just go from here to killing Ganon. And you could take some side routes and that's fine, but it really was pretty linear compared to how this feels so far.
Hmm.
There's just so much you can do now. And there are elements to the story that harken back to earlier Zelda games. And the way that everything fits together really actually feels pretty tight. So it doesn't really feel like it's been bolted on and things are just like, oh, we needed something to complicate the storyline and make it more interesting. No, it actually just does fit together really well. And it's really fun to watch. So I like the game a whole lot. This part, I guess, if you somehow haven't been spoiled so far, I'm sorry. The Zonai are a race of people who were mythical in the first game, Breath of the Wild, and you got to see some peculiar things in ruins throughout the world, especially in the Northwest. The Zonai are a big thing in Tears of the Kingdom, and one major element of the game is using their technology to progress. And another part of that, as you collect this technology and can use it as inventory items, basically, because the world is rebuilding and everybody really seems to actually be trying to work together and making that happen, which is weird and socialist. There are caches of building materials every so often, and people will take those caches of things along with the new Zonai tech and build machines. And I'm not going to say it's like the Incredible Machine, but it kind of is. Like, you have abilities and techniques that you can use with a wide variety of different materials, and people have made some really fucking cool stuff. Um, People have built functioning Jeeps. They made logic gates. And because there was a drop limit in the game for how many things could be on the screen at the same time, it couldn't go very far, but they made a calculator that worked. They also made torture devices and flaming penises.
Oh,
but
of course. There's humanity right there.
As you do. But, like, there's just so much you can do, and you don't even have to do it realistically. Like, some puzzles really push you toward using the new tech and teaching you how to use the new technology, the new abilities that you have. It's kind of right there for you if you want to just, like, look at what's there, but you can also circumvent that stubbornly and do shit your own way and then find out it was a waste of time, but you did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so rewarding. And I haven't really felt that way about a sequel for a game in a long time, and I'm really trying to feel or think back to how that would have been for me in the past. Like,
they just did a really good job of balancing between, making it very similar to the first game and keeping what was good without, feeling like a copy of the first game.
And they did, like, okay, spoilers here. This is an actual spoiler. The Sheikah Slade's gone. You don't have those abilities anymore. Mm-hmm. But you have other things that take its place, and they're more nuanced. And you could choose to use them if you want, or you could choose to use other abilities to get the same result, just in a different way, or you could just struggle and eat a bunch of food to climb a thing you're not supposed to. Like, do it. I don't care. I do remember an analog. The feeling I had as a kid playing Gen 2 Pokemon for the first time. I went through the Elite Four in Johto, and I was like, wow, this game was outstanding. Like, it developed upon what Gen 1 Pokemon did, and it made it more interesting. And the game didn't end. It kept going. And I was like, what? This is weird. And you go through a cave, and suddenly you're back in Kanto again. You're starting from Pallet Town. And you're like, what the fuck? This is amazing. And honestly, like, obviously, okay, I knew that we were going back to Hyrule. The trailers did a really good job of, like, framing the trailers in a way that it would cause a lot of conversation, but it wouldn't necessarily, like, give away the whole plot. And honestly, with the stuff that they gave in all of the trailers, you can't really piece it together. Most of it's to build intrigue, obviously. And it did a really great job of that. This feels like Breath of the Wild, but with a more cerebral storyline and NPC conversations that are more self-aware. Yeah. They know what humor they're going for. They know that they're kind of making fun of themselves in a tropey way. And they wrote the dialogue for the game like that. And by doing that, they inserted a lot more personality into characters. There's a lot of sass. And I love the sass. And, like, it's just fantastic. I don't know. It's just such a good departure from the game that they already had a really good foundation for.
Yeah, that was kind of one of my bigger gripes with Breath of the Wild, was that there wasn't much depth to most of the storylines. Most of the characters were interesting, but there wasn't a whole lot there behind it. You didn't really get into detailed backstories or side stories the way that other open world games sometimes do.
That's a really fantastic point. I wanted to know what the Guardians were like when they were alive, constructing everything in anticipation of attacking Ganon. That would make a fantastic story, because it's when people are actively trying to do this research, figure out what works, and use this ancient technology to do these great things to save Hyrule. Gee, what the fuck story is that? Oh, it's actually Tears of the Kingdom. But
Yeah, you didn't get very much out of that. You didn't get very much of that from the 20 or so memories or whatever it was
Yeah.
in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I thought those were pretty cool.
honestly,
they
they
were.
were. I
Yeah.
wanted more of that. I wanted to be able to interact with that
Hmm.
because it was a lot more interesting. Like,
Yeah, the active storyline was something that had happened in the past, and the actual gameplay of the game didn't have a ton of storyline other than run around
that probably
know,
explains it for me.
defeating the.
Because you're part of the story now.
Yeah, you're
Right, because Link just woke up after 100 years or something. So
Yeah.
he's not really
Shit.
a fixture in anything until now. Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's an active citizen of this world.
That's why it's more engaging, because you're finding things out when they do, as they do.
Mm-hmm,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But, like, it grips me so much more now. Like, Breath of the Wild was really interesting. It had a fantastic world. It was fun to watch and fuck around in. But, like, beyond finding new places and creative ways to kill enemies and stuff, there wasn't a lot to discover in the same way. The world is much larger now. There's a lot more happening that's intertwined with other things. It's just so cool. All right, I need to stop talking about this. People are building really, really cool things with Zonai Tech. There's already some really cool glitches. People are finding multiple ways to duplicate items. They have already found a way to essentially get unlimited time in the air. There's just really cool things that are going on. I haven't looked at any of the speed tech going on beyond like 10-second clips of just showing what a thing does. I don't know much of what happens in the game. I've managed to avoid it. I'm happy for that. There's just so many cool glitches in this game already. It's hard to actually see that stuff and not spoil yourself. So if you do go looking, be very choosy about what you look at. Okay. I already know I want to go home and watch the game later. Sorry, ridiculous. I didn't realize that Final Fantasy 16 was releasing like now.
Yeah, I hadn't heard very much about it until recently either.
It just kind of happened.
surprise.
Like, I know they were really far along with their tech demos and stuff, and people were talking about the trailers actually being rendered in the game. It
Huh.
wasn't just pre-rendered content. Like, this happened there. We're finally getting to a point with, I want to say they're using Unreal Engine 5.
5, I think, is the recent one. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they're using the Luminous engine like they ended up doing for FF15 and the 7 things that have been going on. Regardless, it's really impressive what they're doing. I didn't realize the game was about to release. A retail copy leaked out, and people were very curious how much space is this going to totally wreck on my PS5. Turns out you need a minimum of 100 gigabytes.
Oh,
Ooh,
boy.
triple digits. Can't believe it.
Yeah. I don't know how many discs this game is.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say how many.
It might be 1.
Two?
but-
that would be 2, I would think.
I would.
So, like,
Yeah, I don't know.
can you do dual layer Blu-rays like you could with DVDs?
I think it was already multiple layer, what with the 50 gig limit that I know of. I haven't thought about like disk capacity, physical
while?
disk
Yeah,
capacity in a
uh-huh.
long time.
Yeah, honestly, same. And I'm like, the retail picture that they showed was the case open with a disc and an advertisement for FF14. So I don't know if there's another disc there. This might be barely enough to fit into a
Maybe
108 gigabyte disc or whatever the case is, if one exists. I mean, that's impressive for optical media. Just saying.
It is, sure.
But
sure.
oh god,
Okay,
installing
here we go.
100 gigabytes off of optical media
Pass.
So, according to Wikipedia, single layer Blu-ray is up to 25 gigs.
Oh, okay. So
double
it was already
layers were
Dual
50.
layer
Okay.
is 50 or 66, and then there's something called BDXL that goes up to 100 or 128 gigabytes. Right once discs.
I have to say
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Hit me after if you must. That's not the BDXL I'm thinking of.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry about it.
I'm trying not to.
Don't worry
I
about
really
it.
kind
It's
of
fine.
am, though.
Uh-huh.
That one's for you, furries.
Oh, no.
Um,
See, you told me not to worry about it. Then you say more stuff that makes me worry even more.
don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you're older.
No, please don't.
Perfect. There's the laugh. We finally got one. Okay. Interestingly enough, the demos for the game ran on version 1.01. The game isn't released yet. The pre-download for digital copies begins on the 20th. We're already up to patch version 1.03.
Well, oh, okay.
The game's not released.
All right. Well, that's
I
probably
mean, it's good, I guess,
They're
but like,
actively fixing stuff that they notice before they hit gold. That's good.
day one patches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. Whatever. Huh. I know that it is a sword and sorcery game. Much so, more so than the modern Final Fantasies, I guess, have been.
The road trip ones.
FF15 was definitely modern, road trippy aesthetic. I guess this reminds me most of FF12. Only with the knowledge that it's royal lineages in sword and sorcery time.
Okay.
I know nothing else. I watched a trailer once and promptly forgot everything that was in it. I just remember it was extremely pretty. One thing I did hear about FF16, I don't know if this is the product of leaks or screenshots or videos that were taken from the game as part of demos ahead of time. Apparently they did something really unique with their menu this time, and people are praising them for it. I don't know what it is, because I'm trying to avoid spoilers.
Sure.
But that's not what I was expecting.
Advancements in menu tech is a curious bullet point.
I'm really curious from the standpoint of UI UX. Like, how do you make an RPG not like every other RPG? Yes, Tom, I agree with you. Allegedly, though, this won't be a PS5 exclusive for as long as the other games recently have been. I don't know if that means it's going to Xbox first, but whatever. I would like to get it on PC. I know that I'm going to be sorely disappointed because it will have de novo or something worse. But please don't. Please. I promise I will pay you money.
They're going to, and then if they follow normal patterns, they'll remove it shortly thereafter.
That's why I'm still willing to buy Triangle Strategy now, when I have discretionary funds. Maybe eventually. All right, enough of that. I was waxing poetic on the Asus ROG Ally because now that the Steam Deck is out, well established, has a fantastic community, has a fantastic relationship with iFixit, like getting parts and being able to service it yourself, goddamn, yes, that's the right way to have something that's new in a new segment. The Asus ROG Ally, I was extremely excited for. It had a much newer SoC. It just looks cool. Like, the Steam Deck is super functional. But the ROG Ally looks cool. It has more angular design. It has much faster performance. In theory, a better screen, that kind of stuff. Well, it came out, and a familiar problem that seems to plague the beginning of a lot of things with analog sticks.
Yes.
It's not drift. This time it's dead zone issues. So, what those entail in total, I've heard a couple things. I've heard that the calibration gets off and the dead zone moves, which is problematic.
Oh, yeah.
And I've also heard that the dead zone is too large, so you don't get the nuance of movement that you might want for something like a stealth game.
Okay.
So, what I have heard also, though, is that much like the beginning with the Steam Deck, this can be addressed in software. And if that is the case, great. I mean, if you're dealing with potentiometers, obviously you can read those curves differently in software if you want to. It's just math. So long as the potentiometers themselves are reporting the right data at those really close to center intervals. So I really hope that they can fix it quickly, because analog sticks have been laughable since 2016, if not earlier. Somehow they got worse over time. How? Like, anyway.
You would think that people would have learned from Nintendo's mistakes and, really thoroughly ensured that their hardware was up to snuff, but
Well, when you're looking to shave pennies off the whatever bill of materials
yeah.
for no real good reason.
Money.
I mean,
Profit margins.
sure.
As
Sure.
we said at dinner, bury me with my money. Yep. Actually, no, that was something else. Damn. But I will go and constantly quote Sunset Riders. That line. That was one.
What?
That was on Super Nintendo.
Yes.
There's the synthesis.
Okay.
I didn't think of
okay.
that one.
Yeah.
We were talking about voice synthesis, and I could remember examples from the NES, but I couldn't remember any from the Super Nintendo.
There wasn't very many. It's not something stand out usually.
Yeah.
For the SNES.
And then I thought of Maniac Mansion, which is not a SNES game, I don't think. Right?
Did they have a SNES port?
I don't know.
They had a NES port. I don't know if they did
Yeah.
on SNES. You might be thinking of maybe Seventh Guest. It's another
not that.
horror game. No. Think of one, but I don't remember the title of it.
I could just search for the quote. Stay a while. Stay forever.
That was
That's
the one.
seriously it. Stay a while. Stay forever. All right, internet, tell me. It's Impossible Mission. Why do I always conflate those two? All right, Impossible Mission was a C64 game. Wow, really? Damn. Okay. Well, that's neat. Commodore 64. Voice synthesis. Great. The SID chip.
There you go. Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. I'll get into that later. Another time. Okay, so... Fuck you, Blizzard. I'm sick of hearing about you. Let's talk about the other B company, Bethesda.
Oh no. Do we really have to though?
Todd Howard has more for you. And it's not just another Skyrim port. I'm always going to reference
Speaking
that.
of open world games.
Yes. All right. So Starfield has been announced.
Phew. Yeah.
So the industry had No Man's Sky, shat all over it, and then it became the best game ever, apparently.
They worked at it, yeah.
Arguably.
Sure.
Starfield has been announced by Bethesda as a grand space exploration role-playing game. Hundreds of planets that weren't just proc-gen boringness, as I've been heard that Todd Howard may have paraphrased. But, okay, this is the first new Bethesda universe, universe proper, not just a region inside of one, in over 25 years. This is actually rather momentous for them. The game sounds and looks really cool. People are actually kind of impressed with how it looks so far.
Okay. But
Xbox gamers, I am so sorry. Even with the Series X, frame capped at 30. Why is this still a thing?
oh dear.
Yeah. The same hardware that's inside of the Series X. Granted, it's not using the integrated GPU. Fine. But that same processor will power this thing on PC to much higher frame rates. Yes, Todd Howard's Sky. Yeah. I've heard great things about what people have seen so far. Everybody has absolutely dunked on it with memes because it's Todd Howard. How
Yeah.
can't you?
Yeah.
But I'm really hopeful that they make a space game that doesn't suck. There are plenty of space games that are fantastic. This looks really pretty. It has so much promise based on the things that I've seen from it. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, but then you've got Bethesda, and it's...
I know. I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but like,
Well, don't do that.
I'm so good at it.
I know, but it doesn't mean you have to do it.
As if there were a choice.
Please don't mess this up.
They're going to.
At the very least, go look at it. It looks pretty. At least take the stills and marvel in them, even if the things that move around with those stills suck. It's at least pretty. All right, I'm done.
I am happy they're at least trying something new.
Yeah, okay. Credit where due, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. You could be a space vampire, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking of things that happened in Skyrim. It's funny.
Did Space Vampire happen in Skyrim?
No, but vampirism did.
Okay, well, yeah.
Tom says that he saw that they had Xbox's entire QA department on Starfield. Not sure that's enough. Yeah, okay. So, like, Xbox as a platform has gotten so much shit lately. I honestly feel kind of bad. Because I feel like they're actually trying, but they're just not getting the exclusives they want. The monetary support from consumers that they were really hoping for. Game Pass is kind of faltering a little bit. People are
Weird.
complaining that there aren't enough AAA games in Game Pass, that kind of stuff. I still think Game Pass is a fantastic value. Just open up the Game Pass section in the store and download a game. Play the game. There's so much out there. I'm done. I realize that they're having some struggles right now. Sony is getting a lot of really heavy hitters out there. Obviously, FF16 we just talked about, things like that. I don't feel like the Xbox platform should be getting so much shit as it has. And they've kind of owned up to it. Like, multiple occasions in the last 6 months. They've been like, yeah, we really did not market this well. We don't have enough close partnerships. This is embarrassing for us. Like, they were pretty real about it. And I can respect that transparency. I honestly do hope that things get better for them. I personally prefer the platform over the PS5. I did get to use it a little bit. I don't like the Xbox dashboard very much, but I like the PS5 dashboard less. Like, I hear there is a major dashboard redesign coming for the Series X and S soon. I don't know if that's just a rumor or not. I am curious to see how things change. I'm getting a little sick of, like, tiles on a start screen. Windows 8.1 came out in what? 2017?
I don't
No,
know.
before that. God, no.
Yeah, it was
no,
earlier.
wasn't.
The 360 did the whole tiles thing, too.
It did, yeah.
It wasn't great, but I never spent a lot of time on it, so I didn't care.
That's interesting, because I remember the original Xbox 360 dashboard and thinking that fucker looked so cool.
It was okay.
Was
I
it?
mean, it was... Like, for me, who didn't engage a lot with the social, what are your friends playing, do all this media crap or whatever, I used it as a
Yeah.
gateway to get to the game that was in the machine.
Yeah,
Or had downloaded onto it or whatever, and that
Sure.
that was enough for me. So,
that's fair.
I don't know. I guess my opinion on it probably isn't the strongest, but...
You still have your 360?
Oh, no.
No?
No, I sold that a while ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do you have anything Xbox now?
Besides controllers? No.
Wow. Okay. I honestly
Alright.
did not expect that.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So, like, obviously you're playing the shit out of your Steam Deck,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll obviously talk about games more soon.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what is your platform of choice now? Obviously, it's in part PC.
PC, really.
Everything that you
PC,
want is on PC. I mean, a lot of games
more or
just
less.
are now, even if they're on console too.
Yeah.
Kind of helps that all the consoles are Ryzen-powered PCs.
Right. I mean, if stuff happens to be console exclusive, it's just like, oh, well, whatever.
Wait for a year and
I'll-
suddenly it's not.
I'll wait, and if it ends up not even being on PC, then it's like, that's all right. There's like 20 billion other games I can play. Like, sure, I'll be disappointed if it's something I'm looking forward to, but then again, it's like, no, I don't have to be like, I don't have to own 4 platforms to be happy with the choice of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I didn't have a hard time getting rid of the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't even anticipating getting it. Like, it was launch day. I was like, sure, Target, why not? Oh.
And surprise, here's your PS5.
Oh, okay. I ended up selling it at cost to a friend who was looking for one. But, like, I didn't feel like it was a major loss.
Right.
Everything is so similar these days. That's why I'm so excited by portable form factors. Like, Nintendo, whatever you come out with next, for fuck's sake, make it something at least within the last 2 years of hardware capabilities. The Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, every other clone of those things that are coming from Ally Express or whatever the fuck it's called these days. That's the future right now. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I realize it's limited to like 720p screens and whatnot, but it's there for you. You could take it with you and game for longer than a half hour. I'm looking at you, Game Gear. Ugh.
It should be a lot less about hardware nowadays and more about the software.
Honestly,
Which
yeah.
I think we're finally getting to that point where that's actually a real thing.
I am going to be satisfied when we finally get to a point where there's enough hardware support to run heavily optimized software to the point where there aren't huge hitches in gameplay. I don't care if it runs at a lower resolution, even at a lower frame rate. If it's consistent and it's otherwise a good experience, fine. I realize that's not going to fit a lot of genres like super fast-paced games and FPS and whatnot, but like, by and large, when I'm playing something on a handheld, I'm doing it because I'm fucking around. I'm not playing competitive games on hardware that is going to burn a hole in my lap if I set it down. Like, I want to play me some Tetris and not have it freeze. Just low bar.
Toonskis.
Cool. Today
First
we are
parts.
starting with Secession of Magical Girls by Warp Whistle's music featuring Becky Reed and Josh Bishop from Final Fantasy VIII. Moving into Koholint Serenade by Woody MC from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and ending with Potion by Chimpzilla featuring 80 Mix from Super Mario World. No, it's not.
No, it's not Super Mario World. It's a Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's restart that one.
it up. The king of living in the cusp. It's so fucking hard to stay asleep when you keep calling on to me. It's so unfair, I just act like I don't need ya. All of the reasons I could give don't mean a damn thing. Forget the sweet talk, all the wasted time convincing me I still hold the will to my own fate.
You drive me really crazy with that tone that you're talking in. Don't wanna hear, just take a sip, just listen to your music.
And lie down and maybe try to think these things through. You've woken it up, the king of living in the cusp. It's so fucking hard to stay asleep when you keep calling on to me. Why is it so unfair? I just act like I don't need ya, but all I see in front of me is drinking bird leaves. Used to pop pills and just wait for the next season, but now I'm waiting on the day I keep my head clean. Keep my head clean. All I got is option to keep me steady, just to fix when things get far too heavy.
I got a feeling that you're not even here, that you're wasting my time, praying I don't disappear.
All I got is option. It seems like every time I stop with the talk, my thoughts wander through the misery.
I got a feeling that you're not even here, that you're wasting my time, praying I don't disappear.
It's so unfair, I just act like I don't need ya. All of the reasons I could give don't mean a damn thing. Forget the sweet talk, all the wasted time convincing me I still hold the will to my own fate.
I got a feeling that you don't even care, that you're wasting your time on this meaningless prayer. But if one step can get you back to the top, back in the game, don't let them see you stop. Don't let them see you stop.
All right, on to segment 2, but we have a little bit of extra news that we forgot to get to and or just barely remembered now. So,
All right.
More news.
So, remember that handheld gaming system from the 90s? You know the one.
yeah, the N-Gage.
Yeah, that, sure.
Was that the 90s? Actually, I don't know.
Nah,
that
I think
might have
was
been a
early
little early
2000s.
for the N-Gage. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Many handheld consoles happened in the 90s because
Okay,
that's when they
yeah.
were discovering that not sucking. So, props to the Game Boy, though. I know you came out in the 80s. Love you, buddy. All right, so speaking of Game Boy, though, Game Boy Color. It got a new game by McDonald's. So, Grimace is a thing again. And apparently
Oh,
the
Grimace.
Grimace Shake is a thing.
The Grimace Shake, like the consumable food item, the
Yes.
shake. Ugh.
So it's this like purple monstrosity.
Oh no.
I could deal with the Shamrock Shake and it being green.
Sure, I
That
guess.
tastes like something that doesn't look. Never mind. Not finishing that sentence. Moving straight along. Grimace apparently has a Game Boy Color game. Yep.
Okay.
I saw in the article somebody playing it on an analog pocket. So that makes me wonder if it actually has a physical release or if it was just in ROM.
That's a good question.
I didn't look too into it, but the unfortunate topic of the Grimace Shake came up over the break, and I was like, oh, fuck. I forgot about that travesty.
So I guess I have to wonder, like, is this something Nintendo let them do willingly, or is this something that's
No.
just old enough that they don't care anymore?
As I recall, McDonald's, the corporation, paid some group that is known for making Game Boy Color games to make this McDonald's
so it's
branded Grimace whatever game thing.
A commissioned fan game, as it were.
Sounds like that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I'm going to be reading off from IGN's website.
10 out of 10.
They own the copyright for this content. Don't shoot me. McDonald's has released a Game Boy Color game in honor of Grimace's 52nd birthday called, well, Grimace's Birthday.
Uh-huh.
It's not an acid dream, we promise. Cruel Toys, Krool, who developed Grimace's Birthday, launched the game on its own website. I see, okay. Oh, you can play it in the browser or on your phone. You can also download the ROM file,
There you go.
since it was
Okay.
designed to run on the 25-year-old hardware. God damn, that shake looks nasty. Anyway,
Happy birthday, Grimace.
Birdie the Early Bird, the Hamburglar, and the McNugget Buddies have shown up to this party. With 30 minutes to midnight, he has to round them up before it's time to blow out the candles. You have to help Grimace collect 40 milkshakes through 4 levels of the game and reach the goal before time runs out.
Sure.
Yeah,
Alright,
okay.
alright.
Would you like some free purple in your life?
Not with a Grimace shake, no.
Smart move. I commend that. I also got a little hasty, and in my self-realization of not shutting the fuck up, I moved into music before we were done with the news. Oops.
That's right. I completely let you do that, so we share blame. we share blame here.
So, on the topic of handhelds and Steam, I'm surprised that it didn't come up on its own already, but Steam came out with their first major interface update for Steam in like a decade, question mark.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't suck as much now.
So,
as in, like, it happens, like, UI events happen within the first, like, third of a second after I
Right?
click the interface now.
So
And it-
what kind of confuses me about this is that I first read about it officially today, and I've already been using it for like the past 3 or 4 days. So I'm just like, wait,
Wait, what?
They
There's
got an
oh,
update.
wait.
Oh, I guess they did. Yeah.
Show me, because this might be a different update than what I've
Is
been
it
using.
though? Are you really?
Because, okay, maybe I was
There
in the
was a
beta
beta,
then.
yeah.
Oops.
Okay,
I put that in
because
the
the
wrong spot.
mobile app definitely
go.
changed at the same time as the desktop app for me, and that happened like 2 or 3 months ago. for
Oh yeah,
me.
the mobile app has been
So-
changed for a bit.
This is partly long overdue updates to make things work better in the modern day,
Right.
and
Yeah,
partly intended to commonize software between Steam Deck and PC. So
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Mhm.
future updates and whatnot will work more similarly on both platforms. The thing that I haven't gotten to play with much yet that I was reading some interesting things about is that the overlay is apparently much, much improved now.
Okay.
It
Oh,
includes,
all
they've added things like having, you can write notes for a game in the overlay, you can pin overlay items, you can make them semi-transparent,
Huh.
all sorts of graphical improvements for that. So that is of interest potentially. But yeah, Steam finally actually updating their UI a little bit. I think that they did a much better job than just about any other company that I've, seen as far as like updating their software interface to be more
Mhm.
modern without just, randomly deciding that they were going to throw things in different places for no reason or, space things out unnecessarily because modern screens have higher resolutions, cough, cough.
Mhm.
I can appreciate that they stayed true to form with keeping the layout largely similar and not unnecessarily jumbling up locations of things for no particular reason. But yeah, that's somewhat exciting news.
I was just happy because whatever UI update that I got 3-4 months ago made the Steam interface on Windows significantly less laggy.
Yeah, there were
Much more responsive.
definitely back-end improvements.
So,
I will say, like, Steam is one of the last pieces of software that I could open it up and still kind of feel like it was 2012. So, like,
yeah. Well,
there's a little bit of nostalgia going away there, but, I was gonna say something and I forgot what it was.
Software from 2012.
Yeah, something.
Great
like that.
memories, I guess. maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
I far preferred the general approach to user interfaces in the 2010s or early 2010s to the late teens and
Yeah,
you know,
before
20
things got
yeah,
ultra flat and no borders and no distinction of
Yeah,
fields. Yeah,
and-
I agree with you there.
spread out much more than necessary because aesthetics or something.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of user interface design, Windows 11 in beta still, but they finally allow you to not combine labels in the taskbar in Windows 11, which means that you can have multiple browser windows open and have them display as multiple clickable buttons
Like
on
that.
the taskbar
Yeah.
without
I
using
can
a
probably
third-party
separate this,
utility
can't I?
or that
Yeah.
manner of thing.
Bonk. Gee, look at that. It's a configuration option. Amazing.
Yeah, so this is something that has existed in like every other version
Right.
of Windows modernly, and
Every other operating system that exists.
just wasn't there in Windows
Uh,
11, and that's kind of part
Not
of
Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Mac.
the taskbar deficiencies in Windows 11 are pretty much the major reason that I have hardline stuck to Windows 10. So I'm excited to
Okay.
see small improvement
One
in that.
barrier removed.
You still cannot reposition the taskbar to the sides or top of the screen, so I'm
That is allegedly changing.
still holding out for that.
So the change that you were talking about regarding combining windows on the taskbar,
Yep.
I'm running the Canary build of Windows 11 that has yet to appear. I'll let you know when I see it. But I haven't seen it yet. But I ended up moving back to the latest and greatest non-actual internal Microsoft build because they let me add seconds back to the clock. That's what got me.
Is not having the seconds there. Okay.
You don't realize how much you use information like that until it's gone.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like if I'm sitting, I'm this guy. If I'm sitting waiting to enter a meeting until it actually begins, and I want to do it on the very first second of the minute, click. I'm weirdly particular. I absolutely have OCD. I know this. I live with this. I make people live with it. Yeah. Anyhow.
I was
Yeah,
just
look at that.
thinking about that the other day, how I basically never actually use the clock on my computer, and so if there's not a like physical clock in the room, I'll just lose track of time usually.
That's fair.
Like for whatever reason, having it on the same screen as everything else makes it less visible to me
Yeah.
instead of more so.
Sure.
It's not the information I'm looking for from that device, so my brain just filters it out or something.
Well, I still wear a dedicated timekeeping device, so you know.
That is totally valid.
I mean, I do too. I never reference it for time.
No, you wear a dedicated I slap my wrist and get angry when people message me device.
It's true. I can't actually tell you the last time I looked at that thing to get the time. I will pull out my phone out of habit. Fuck. I did not think of that before now.
Ha.
All right, now can we move on?
No, actually,
Damn it.
one other news actually relevant to games news item that came up, and thank you, Firetron, for bringing it up again, that I forgot to write down earlier today. That apparently there's going to be an animated series based on Dead Cells coming
What?
out. Yeah.
Okay.
Made by the same folks that do the trailers for Dead Cells. So those have been
Okay.
pretty fun and entertaining to watch. The most recent one that I remember getting a good chuckle out of was the trailers for the Dead Cells Castlevania DLC.
Okay.
Right.
Which was quite good. So that's coming up. I don't know exactly when, but soon.
Guess it's time for me to actually play Dead Cells.
You really
instead
should
of
play
just
Dead
leaving it
Cells.
sitting there.
It's a good ass game.
Another game that Vlad mentioned this week, like, oh, that looks cool. What have you been playing on Sundays for a while?
Noita.
Oh yes.
There
yeah.
you go. There's the segue.
If you want a game that hates you, play Noita.
But it looks so
actually,
pretty.
Interestingly
is.
enough, came up in a conversation I was reading online about games that were knowledge based in a similar way to Tunic or Outer Wilds, where like the actual learning about the game is
Yeah.
itself a progression mechanic.
That's true. I will say Noita's learning of the things is very much more obscure than those.
Yes, yeah.
I would say it's one of those things where I would recommend you play it through the normalish way or whatever a couple times just for grins, and then if you want to know about the secrets, go look them up
Mm-hmm.
because
Very
very
particular.
esoteric.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Okay.
Like if you don't look here and you don't understand what they're referring to here, you're never gonna figure half the game out, half the game
Gotcha.
content.
Okay, so
Yeah.
compare that obtuseness with La Mulana then.
Oh boy. La Mulana, at least a lot of the information is there for you to figure it out.
Okay.
Noita, I could never just naturally piece stuff together.
It doesn't hand
It-
you
it just doesn't.
tidbits. Yeah.
There is, but the game is so hateful in letting you not explore things that it's very frustrating to try to piece it together.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah.
That was one thing that I really enjoyed about Tunic is that it kind of had everything across that spectrum. Like there are secrets in that game that are extremely esoteric that you
Mhm,
really have to know what you're looking for, but it's so full of secrets of all varieties that you don't feel like you're missing out by not, getting all of those.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still very happy that I figured out the wind chime puzzle without like knowing that it was a thing. I was staring at the manual page and I was just kind of like, because like we were passing the house and I was like, this has to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely has to. And then we struggled through it
Mm-hmm.
because it was nighttime and the wind was blowing and then the notes were still trying to play. And we were like, what was that? Did it play 2 notes or 1? What was the rhythm? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased with
Yeah.
myself. That was the one puzzle I think I actually like completely figured out on my own. I'm happy. Thumbs up.
It was fun.
It's a good game.
Speaking of, and here, I'm not
Well,
taking
oh,
my shirt
okay.
off, but
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I wore the shirt. Yeah.
I also
good.
wore the shirt because it was complimentary blue.
I will take your word for it. It does look like the same shade of blue, so I'm going to assume that's correct.
Yeti.
Games.
But yes, now that we have discussed additional games and additional news, it's time to talk about even more games and what we've been playing since last time.
Noita!
You've been playing Noita?
You.
Oh, yes, I have been playing Noita. On Sundays, in fact. Ostensibly, I started playing it because Noita was recently added as a supported game to Archipelago, the multi-world stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible time.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are terrible times.
Okay.
But, misery loves company and all that, so that's just the thing. I'm not comfortable enough with Noita to do a multi-world with it just yet, though. But it was fun to go back and play it again several weeks in a row. So that's been my Sunday projects have been more Noita. I actually did get another clear, my second clear on the normal path of Noita last week.
Wow.
Yeah. Sometimes the RNG just falls just right. You get the right combination of things, and I ended up with a death laser that could shoot across the screen.
All right.
It
I
was fun.
like that.
It was fun.
It's
It was
great
very
when
fun.
that shit happens.
Yep.
You
I-
love to see it happen. There we go. That's how
You
say
felt you feel powerful for a very brief moment sometimes, but when you do feel that power, it's great.
that. And then you get cocky and get sniped from across the
Oh
screen.
yes, that happens often.
The EI special. I'm not letting that die.
I'll have you know, yeah, I know you're not listening presently, but I did not bring that one up, so that's not my fault. Other games I've been doing on stream here. So last time I was in the middle of Hell is Other Demons. That is now complete.
I love the name.
It's a great.
Hell
honestly,
is other demons.
Hell is Other Demons, and hell is people too. But it was a very fun game. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I did go through a couple of the score attack ones and ended up number 2 on one board, I think, or number 3, and then number like 7 on another board or whatever. The problem I found with the score attack modes is that it just takes so long. It ramps up very, very, very slowly. And it's just like, okay, do I spend another 30 minutes for the start of the run to actually get to the challenging bits, or do I not?
Yeah.
And I decided to not after the one that got to like number 3 or whatever. I'm just like, you know what? I'm happy with that. It's above the fold. I'm cool. Whatever. So Hell's Other Demons is done. Then I started on Darkest Dungeon 2.
How is that?
It's good. I like it.
Okay.
It's still just as hateful as Darkest Dungeon 1.
As you do.
In shorter form though. So it's
Oh.
not nearly as extremely debilitating to have your people die. Which is great. It splits it up more into a roguelite with a T
Really?
than a roguelike with a K.
Uh-huh.
But it's essentially you have much shorter runs of it instead of this large overarching improve your party, get people leveled up, buy gear
Sure.
for them, etc., etc. Oops, they're dead, they're gone forever. No, you have like 2.5 hour runs.
Okay.
Where even
okay.
if people die in that run, you still get to bring them as part of your next run if you want to. Which I think
okay.
is a great adjustment to do. Like,
That's interesting.
holy shit.
So how do you recruit them if they already have like better gear and stats and stuff?
You start off each run by choosing a party of 4.
Got it. Okay.
And
So
then
they just show up as options.
Yeah.
Okay.
mhm. And then
Okay.
if folks die along the way, and if you get to kind of the in between points of like, there's like 3 major segments per run, you can recruit other folks of that selection of like 12 or 13 classes that haven't died during
Okay.
that run. So not all is lost when people die, which is great, but depending on when they do die within that segment, you might or might not be fucked. It's been fun. It's been fun.
This sounds like a gory version of Clue.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
definitely keeps the whole very horror aesthetic to everything. You know, God, why can I never remember the name for that? Something like Cthulhu, and what's the name for that horror aspect?
Eldritch?
Eldritch, thank you. Like Eldritch horrors and, you know, gore and viscera and oh shit, you know, dark Cthulhu-esque things and, you know, unspeakable nightmares and shit like that.
Sure.
That aesthetic is still well and alive with it. Looks great, sounds great. Instead of using all 2D animations, they actually make the player characters 3D
Oh,
and like animate different aspects of it. It's so smooth. It looks great.
wow. Okay.
They brought back the same narrator from
I was gonna ask.
from Darkest Dungeon 1. Oh, so good.
Like
Perfect delivery.
it's yes. The narrator is an integral part
Mm-hmm.
of that game.
Good old Wayne June does a hell of a fucking job. Like, wow, what a great narrator for that game. So far as I know, there's 5 major bits of it. I'm through about 1.5 of it.
Okay.
After about 4 weeks now. This is my 4th week
God
on it.
damn.
Yeah, it's very brutal. It's difficult.
Okay.
But I'm still having fun with it, so I'm gonna play it for a while yet.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the gameplay for it yet.
Oh, it's super good. If you can, I would probably still recommend playing Darkest Dungeon 1 first.
Yeah. I have been interested.
Not necessarily for spoilers' sake or anything, but just to kind of understand, like, the move from Darkest Dungeon 1 to Darkest Dungeon 2 is, in my eyes, a pretty good improvement. Like,
Okay.
they've done a lot of quality of life stuff. It's still a very difficult game, but it's not punishing to lose as not as much anyways in Darkest Dungeon 2.
Okay.
But it is fun. It gives me plenty of opportunity to yell at NPCs and whatever, which I always enjoy doing. So there's that too.
Any squads?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I figured.
It does sort of maintain the almost XCOM like RNG sometimes, which can be frustrating. But you know, that was present in Darkest Dungeon 1 as well. So
I was
that hasn't
just
changed.
talking about wanting to play a not Final Fantasy, excuse me, Fire Emblem game. Yeah.
Sometimes that 95% hit rate doesn't really mean 95%.
Yeah. The 2% chance of an enemy critting.
Yeah, so there's plenty of aspects of that still kind of shine through, but it is still very fun, either in spite of or despite that, whichever, however you want to call it. On the Shmup Book Club side of things, SBC, the new Shmup for a month of June is Musha, M-U-S-H-A. Yeah, pretty standard, actually top-down scrolling shooter this time around.
Okay.
One of the easier ones I think we've already had several people do the all clear on their goes through it.
Shma down?
Or Shma up? I don't know. It's hard to...
Perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a vertical shmup instead of a horizontal shmup.
I see. Okay.
Right. So that's been fun. We've had several people do the all clear, which is good to see. Quarterlies are still sitting at Bordered Down, which I played a little bit as well, which is interesting, and Kamui, which I haven't played yet, even though it ends this month. So I probably either should or maybe I'll just go and just not play it. Which is fine. We've got plenty of others. Sunday Long Play I've already gone through is Noita. Still very fun. I've also played a little bit of Vampire Survivors lately too, because of their various updates and stuff.
Tom told me about that game.
Oh boy,
you should tell me more.
It's fun. Like it's essentially 30 minutes a run. That's almost always a hard cap on the time per run. Almost always.
Okay.
But you start with one character, four characters or whatever, and as you progress, as you do longer runs and meet certain conditions, you unlock more characters and unlock more weapons. But it's a one control game. You only move. You don't control where to fire or what's firing. You just pick up the various weapons. They have different patterns and such, and then upgrades, and then they can combine and yada yada yada.
Huh.
It's designed by folks that were once prominent in the gambling and casino industry.
Oh yes, I remember that detail now. Okay.
Yeah. However, it's very well set up. It never feels like it's trying to dark pattern you into dumb bullshit. So it's quite good. It's quite good to what it is, and it's honestly very cheap. I think I bought my copy when it was on sale for like $5, I want to say.
Okay.
And then the expansions, I believe, have been either $2 or $4 a piece. And there's another one coming out soon-ish, I believe. So definitely worth the money if you want something to just pick up and play for a bit.
I heard it has nothing to do with vampires.
Well, no, it doesn't. I have yet to see an actual vampire within that game. But they do lean into the kind of funny, like, oh yeah, you're trying to hunt a vampire or whatever, and you just never. No, you're not.
That's fair.
Yeah.
They came up with the name, made the game, decided, we'll stick with it.
Like, there's definitely a lot of very Castlevania influences in it,
Gotcha.
of course, between the characters and the weapons and some of the aesthetics and some of the lore, even quote unquote. But yeah, there's no actual vampire that you fight just yet. I don't think. Spoilers. I did have one run, probably a week and a half ago, where I was approaching the 30-minute cap on the run, and I was already kitted out. I was gonna, win or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And by 30 minutes, something comes in to essentially ensure that you don't go any further.
Uh-huh.
I was just like sitting there. Okay, came in. I was ready for it. I was like, ready. Okay, the run's about to end. Whatever. 31 minutes, 32 minutes, 33 minutes keeps ticking by. I'm not taking any damage for whatever reason. And it's just like, okay, eventually, one of us is gonna have to die, right? So all right, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, like. It was like 11 o'clock at night at that point. I was like, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So I'm just going to let this run. And eventually it'll sort itself out, right? No, next morning at 10 a.m. I come down and check on it. It's still going. I'm like, fucking... All right, so I have to, have to go to work or whatever. So I'll keep it running until that evening stream. And it was still going by that time. Like, okay, fine. I have to quit out of this. I can't let this keep going.
Huh.
It was wild. It was wild.
Was it a bug?
I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I think it's known that it can happen. You are supposed to be able to destroy the thing that comes to murder your run at 30 minutes. And you can do it. I've done it a couple times. So I expected that to happen eventually, but it didn't.
Okay, so it just never showed up.
So yeah, it showed up.
Oh, okay. I see.
I wonder if I still have the screenshot. Actually, I might be able to show you.
Please.
Let's pull up where I posted it in Discord. Actually, right. I'll need to minimize this temporarily. Is that the minimize button? Can't see.
One over,
One over.
up a little bit.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So I posted this. There's the results screen. So here's this. I'm showing Tormod right now. Here's the screenshot I came back to at 6
Okay.
o'clock the next night. Just a mess of garbage.
Okay.
And all of these little shadows that you see are the run killers that are supposed to show up and murder you immediately. It adds a new one every minute after 30 minutes. And this is minute. It's hard to tell. I think that's minute 1900. So yeah, it's a big old mess. And I'm surprised it was still going by that point.
That's amazing.
So the things you can look forward to if you choose to play Vampire Survivors.
I think Tom will get me on there eventually. Tom got me on Slay the Spire, so it could
It's
happen.
fun. It's fun. It's one of those things where you plug a run or two in, and then that's good for a bit, and then you come back to it.
Okay. Seems good.
Other than that, that's about it. I do have one sort of half bit of news coming up as well in a couple days. This Sunday we're starting up our next async multi-world.
Oh no.
It's gonna be the largest one yet that we've done.
As you always do.
By a really significant margin too. And submissions for it close in an hour and a half, and I hope nobody else has put in another one because I don't want to have to regenerate the damn thing again, because that takes a long time to do. But that's fun. That goes for about 4 weeks, so I will have a trip report on about the midway point for next show.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you been playing?
I legitimately only think I've played Uno.
Oh, well, that's good. You played something at least.
Can you think of other things? I'm struggling, seriously. We quit because it kept going for too long.
You quit Uno.
Yeah,
Okay, no,
nobody
no,
could
no,
get
no.
Uno.
What?
No, that was because of some stupid house rules that
Oh,
a certain
goody.
person at the table introduced.
I see.
If we were playing vanilla Uno rules, it would have been fine.
You weren't like stacking draw twos or shit like
We
that.
were
where-
stacking draw
Oh
twos.
no!
Which I thought was hilarious.
It was
Oh,
funny, but
no.
it doesn't make for a game
It
that
is-
actually finishes
is
in a reasonable amount of
Not
time.
conducive to finishing a hand.
It was like a 2-hour round of Uno,
Oh my
and we were
God.
like, no,
we were having
going
fun.
to bed.
Yeah, it was getting late.
Oh man, that's funny.
We shuffled it was the giant Uno deck, by the
Oh
way.
goody.
And
Yep.
we shuffled, at least 3 times.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It happened.
Oh gross.
That was kind of funny in itself because trying to shuffle cards that are like this
yeah,
big is
yeah.
is
You
a
split it
time.
into like 4 different stacks and try to do each one
Right.
individually. Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot think of other things
Have
I've played.
you used your Steam Deck at all?
No.
No?
You should use your Steam
Sorry.
Deck.
You
It's a
should
good
really
kit.
just like bring it to work and then play when I'm not done with work and you are.
Maybe.
Should play
it's-
Vampire Survivors pretty good on
You,
Steam
you
Deck.
know, you're talking about how great portable consoles are. Like, portable your console.
True, I guess.
Right?
I don't know. I've just been kind of like starting to feel the vaguest itch of playing a Fire Emblem game again.
You did
Like-
talk about that, yeah.
I own 3 houses. Pretty sure. I haven't
Yeah.
played it yet.
Yeah, sounds right.
And
Okay.
then they have the Engage, Fire Emblem Engage. I think that's
Engage.
the new one where you can like pull up the spirits of previous games stuff or something. I don't know. I didn't go too far
got
into
me.
it. I think that's a thing. But I also want to go back and play the ones I've already played before because I know I like them and da 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 da. I have been considering a game like that or a strategy game of some kind. But now that I thought of the words Slay the Spire again, I may go back to that.
There you go.
Tom, what have you done?
Play some mods on it too.
That's true. There were a couple really interesting story mods where you could play as the boss monsters and stuff.
There you go.
So, maybe so. I'll have to learn how to mod a PC game.
If
Nice.
they ever fix the archipelago bits in it, you could Add it to the next one.
I have an hour and a half. I won't do that to you. I won't have time to play something like that. Good lord. Okay, so did you ever say how many worlds in such it was?
So, all right. Well, there's an hour and 20 minutes yet. Presently there are, let's see here. Doop-a-doop-a-doo, 170 worlds.
Wow.
What was the previous maximum?
128.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
You didn't go for 192? Come on.
that's not up to me. No, I have my set in there, and that's I will do no more.
That's fair.
So yeah, we've got running bets going on how many total items it's going to be and how long it will take to generate. So I can't spoil that presently, but it is sizable on both counts.
Nice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
We will need it.
So, presently, which games are represented?
At current, there are, I think I said 32 different games represented.
Oh, God.
Many games are represented. There it is. Gotta find my list because I just ran the analysis on it before. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, I just have it here. Yeah, total games. 33 games.
Okay. But, like, which? Examples.
Link to the Past,
Of course.
Adventure.
Huh.
The 2600 game, the
Yeah.
Adventure. There's a couple specific Archipelago games that are kind of just shit posts. So there's an idle game, Archipidal, and apparently an infinite clicker called Click are in there as well.
It's not Cookie Clicker.
Right, close enough. Blasphemous.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Apparently that's another Metroidvania-ish game, I believe. I don't
okay.
know. I think I'd want to pick it up at some point.
Sure.
Oh, there's also an Archipelago-specific Minesweeper called Chex Finder.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's in there. Dark Souls 3. DLC Quest.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Your voice saying Dark Souls 3.
by Rotaka.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
It just fills itself in. It's been so long.
That's what happens when you do this for 6 years with that song.
Yeah,
DLC Quest, Donkey Kong Country 3,
hell yeah. All right.
Factorio.
Oh, how do you Factorio? Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
I
there's
can
a
see
lot
it.
of
I
these
can see it.
that are like, huh, and then ah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, the OG, the NES one.
All right.
I'm doing a couple of those. That's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Hollow Knight,
Mm-hmm.
Hylics 2. Oh wait, some of those aren't represented in this async. I should look at that list actually instead. Hollow Knight, Link's Awakening is in there. Link to the Past, obviously. Lufia 2, Ancient Cave.
Wow. Okay.
Messenger. Pokemon Red or Blue, whichever you choose to play. Rogue Legacy. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, which is super funny. Stardew Valley. Super Metroid.
Uh-huh.
Super Mario World. Time Spinner. VVVVVV. Yeah. Ocarina of Time. Link to Past, Link to Past, Link to the Past, Messenger, blah, 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 blah. It's back to unique ones here. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Mhm. Minecraft.
Okay.
Risk of Rain 2.
Huh.
Super Mario 64. There's another Blasphemous.
What is the goal in Minecraft? In
I
Archipelago.
think there's a couple different ones. One is just beat the Ender Dragon. One is kind of like the Triforce Hunt where you find Ender egg shards or something like that. Another Kingdom Hearts 2, another Minecraft, yada. Super Metroid Link to the Past combo rando is in there as a separate thing.
Nice.
More time spinners.
Let me
more
guess.
Super
EI
Mario
is doing at
Worlds.
least 7 of those.
Oh no, he does the normal Super Metroid stuff.
Oh, okay.
Other unfortunate souls play the combo rando in there. There's my group of things. Overcooked 2.
Oh.
Which I'm not sure how that one works, but that's
Yeah.
interesting. StarCraft 2. Wargroove. Noita.
Of course.
I'm not the brave one putting that one in this time. Hollow Knight, I think I mentioned already. Secret of Evermore.
Okay.
That's a very item dense game as well. DLC quest. Lord, this list does not end.
Yeah, you have 170 in there.
Yeah, that's true. I think I
It's
covered
impressive.
all the unique games that are in there. Yep. Okay.
Okay, so you gotta tell me, Pokemon? Like,
Mhm.
do you have to like beat specific trainers or something? Or
So, to my understanding, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can do the natural vanilla progression, get up, beat the Elite Four, become the champion or whatever.
okay,
You can add in, I think, a thing to literally catch them all, all 151 or 2 or however many fuck there are. There's stuff you can put in there called Trainer Sanity that mixes up all the trainers as far as what they have. You can mix up the types. You can mix up the TMs, I've learned, as well.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a...
so it's a randomizer.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, all these are randomizers for their respective
Oh.
games.
that makes sense. Okay,
Phew. So yeah, so imagine all of that, 170 instances of all these different games
Fun.
okay, so like,
in that giganto pool.
can we like summer, winter, Eamus, something? Babby's first archipelago. Like actually, like
Yes,
here.
you can do a synchronous multi-world. This is kind of how that started a little bit.
Okay.
Because we do those on occasion over weekends and stuff. We have like a dozen maybe across a few different folks.
Sure.
And
Okay.
turns into like a 6-7 hour ordeal, but still sort of reasonable.
Okay. I've done a multi-world with you.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was at Eon's
remember
house,
that
and
being a
eventually I
thing.
gave
Oh,
up.
right. Yeah.
I
Okay.
was like, I'm on the shittiest Dark World dungeons. I'm
Mhm.
done.
You
Mhm,
tapped out. Yeah.
Doo-doo.
Right.
You're playing FF1 Seeds.
Mm-hmm.
What?
What do you mean? What?
Like, what do you do?
Like the FF1?
How do you find things for other people? I guess. So
Oh, like
is it
the chests that you open.
Okay,
The key
okay.
items that you would normally find. Some of the fetch quest stuff that you exchange stuff for is considered a check as well.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all
Mhm.
because, like,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds really fun when I start hearing some of the game names, but I'm like, oh no, what kind of cursed bullshit do you have to
Oh,
do?
it's very cursed. Yeah. Like no, we're not denying that.
Yeah,
There-
okay.
Yeah, I guess this does kind of tie into the round's name, though. Repeatable sins. This is one of our biggest repeatable sins. Because we do this cursed bullshit of these huge async multi-worlds. We jokingly call it sins. Because we get done with them, and they're like, okay, yep, that's enough of that for now. And then eventually we forget that we've sinned, and we do the next one.
Mhm.
It's very human.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to have to ask more specifics about how to play certain games so that my expectations are tempered.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, and you can tune the settings for as easy or as weird as you want to go for a lot of these games too.
Fair.
Like you could do a plain old vanilla LTTP if you wanted to. Like that's configurable.
Huh.
Or you can do inverted cross keys, entrance rando. I don't know why you would, but you can.
We're judging you, Tom.
Exactly.
I knew. All right, that's fair. That's fair. Also props, because like that shit's cracked and I like watching it. Precisely. Who would do that? Which sane
it's
person would
wild.
subject themselves
Oh
to
no, sanity optional.
that? Yeah, that's fair. Tom, I need to watch you play games again. I'm staring at the text on the screen instead of the webcam. I'm really
Very
good. At
good.
this.
All right. With all of that kind of noodling around in everybody's mind brain,
You.
Oh, yes.
What have you
yes.
played?
So the reason Tormod hasn't been playing games is because I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom.
It's great.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. You've said about everything on it that that I think needs to be said on it this show, so I won't
About 4 times over.
ramble too much on that. I'm thinking of as far as like other things I've played, I haven't been like super into any particular single player story games. I did pick the Switch back up by and large to play Zelda, but also have been playing some Smash and some Tetris 99 again because I had largely not touched the Switch for a while, so it's always good to reacquaint with old favorites. Outside of that, I haven't gamed a ton since last show. We were on work travel during last show, and everything since getting back from that has been rather hectic.
You did play Breath of the Wild a little bit.
I did, yeah.
Because that was like our consolation prize while we were gone.
Waiting for the new Zelda,
To build up
playing
a
the old
taste
Zelda,
for the
yeah.
expected Breath of the Wild 2, right?
It was a good chance to refresh myself with the controls and stuff, at least. I will say, we were talking earlier about like software becoming the main differentiator for gaming platforms, and I will say the one hardware element that still matters to me is controllers and controller input feels, and I don't get why Nintendo did anything that they did with the quote-unquote Pro Controller, because it is, in my opinion, in every way a worse experience than the Joy-Cons, but
the buttons are pretty mushy.
it's just, yeah, it's mushy and it feels cheap, and the Joy-Cons are tight and responsive, and they're like too small, but they work consistently.
That would be my complaint about the Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
like I don't have tiny hands, so they kind of don't work very well.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
But the button action is clicky.
Yeah, I can see that.
And even the joysticks, when they aren't, drifting terribly and whatnot, they're decent joysticks. I don't know, just the feel of them is pretty good. They are too small, but they actually feel like a quality built controller, whereas the Pro Controller does not feel like something that should have the word Pro associated with it.
That is fair.
But rant aside, yes, I've been playing my Switch again. It's been great.
So I have this USB dongle of sorts where you can hook up random other brands' controllers. At some point, we should just hook up an Xbox One controller to it.
To the Switch. Yeah, see, the problem with that is that then I'm going to be holding a familiar controller, and my brain is going to say that A should be at the bottom and B should be on the right. And
I mean, you can map it.
Can you
like
remap
that.
it like that?
I
think you can.
guess.
Interesting.
I feel like that would just hurt me even worse, though, because then I would go to pick up the Joy-Cons to, like, play Tetris or something on.
Why isn't this remapped?
Yeah. The only other game that I have sunk any particular time into was I did spin up a new world in Minecraft for the latest update on that one, so that's been enjoyable. Minecraft is a surprisingly solid couch co-op title on the Xbox, and I need to remind myself of that sometimes because there's not enough couch co-op in my life.
And it can be played with 4 players locally on the
Which
same screen.
Is
Interesting.
chaotic and fun, yeah.
And they all get one 1080p little square.
Hooray! Yeah, I guess that tracks. Yeah.
So
Yeah, the scaling is a little weird. You don't get like the full FOV you'd be used to on a standard screen. But
Sure.
it still plays pretty well.
surprisingly well, actually.
Yeah, it's
Microsoft
actually
has done a pretty good job of optimizing that game.
yeah, it's kind of crazy that the Xbox can handle 4 people playing simultaneously in a game like that, but no, it's pretty good.
It's a good watch, definitely. Like, Renby and Vlad have been playing it quite a bit. When they do play Minecraft, it's usually together, so at least when I see it. I think it's fun. Sometimes I join in.
When I, set it to peaceful so that you don't have to worry about.
Just give him a fishing rod and it'll be fine.
Hey, exactly. I was going to say, that was the world before this. Come on. Imagine having all 4 of us awake in the same house at the same time, though.
Yeah,
Who could do that?
That is a valid
Right?
valid mention.
Remby is going to be switching completely to Gremlin hours now, so just get used to it.
Honk. And you did express interest in playing Noita, so
This is true.
I did.
as a
yes.
purveyor of bad ideas, I support this.
It's not even Tom or EI saying it this time.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so Noita or Dead Cells first?
Ooh.
Dead to.
If you want to have fun without like feeling the self-loathing start to creep in, Dead Cells.
Okay, yep. That,
Thomas
Um,
says to play Noita.
the impression I got it.
If you want to have fun in the weird self-loathing kind of way, Noita.
Got it.
Are you
um,
author blues?
If you're feeling particularly masochistic, play Noita. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How would you say Noita compares to like Spelunky 2
Oh boy.
on the masochism scale?
Noita is probably more masochistic.
Okay.
Spelunky 2, you will eventually understand what murdered you. Noita, it's not always clear.
Got it. Yeah. So you just randomly die sometimes.
Yes.
And it's not
Yeah.
apparent. Yeah.
And
Time
it's
to have
not
Shadow
apparent.
Play on so you can go back and watch.
It's not apparent or fair, because I think in many times a Spelunky 2 death ultimately will be considered fair. You did a stupid thing that chain reacted into your ultimate death.
Mhm.
In Noita, it's like, okay, you did a stupid thing maybe 10 minutes ago, and something now completely unrelated has murdered you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm reminded with Noita, part of the reason I was interested in it is the graphics are beautiful, but it
Oh, yeah.
strongly reminded me of a Flash game from the 2000s called Powder.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It is very pixel physics. Everything is a material.
Yeah.
Everything reacts with something else in a different
And
way.
that
Yeah.
fascinated the hell out of me when I was, in my Flash games era. So
Yeah,
I definitely am drawn to it for that reason.
I remember playing that particular one as well.
Yep.
It was very fun.
Nice.
Okay.
I
Alright.
should play games.
You should play
I
games.
say that every month.
Let's play Minecraft.
All right, can we do Toonscapes Part 2? We've
Sounds
been
good.
jawing for a bit here.
Eh.
So let's start off with a remix from Mega Man 3 entitled Snake Man Pulse Mix by McVaff, followed by a remix from Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons entitled Forgotten Ruins by Gaspode, and then finishing off with a remix from Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past entitled Hyrule Castle Pulse Mix by McVaff. as we roll into this final segment here, we've reached the design phase of insert credits. Ho ho, hee hee, ha ha. So how this works is we have this fun little site that gives us a listing of various aspects of a game, a genre, a setting, a theme, a
Rule.
rule. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And sometimes
Um,
more than one.
and sometimes
of
more
each.
than one of any of those. And then we take the time at the end of the show to create a brand new game around it, try to design one, with no other prep prior to that. We get 3 rolls. We can either accept the roll given to us or move on to the next, but we cannot go backwards. And once we hit roll number 3, that's it. We're stuck with it.
We frequently get stuck with
We
it.
frequently get stuck with number 3. Whether that's hubris or whatever, that's up for the audience to decide. We have thus far managed to stay true to those rules. So
Each time.
every time.
It has been so tempting sometimes. You might get another porn game. Just saying.
That's okay. Like, we've done porn, erotica. I mean, I think
Yeah.
there's a distinction to be made there. We've done an erotica game for sure.
We'll see about making a porn game next time.
A porn
Do
game
what
would
you
be
gotta
accurate
do.
next time. There was one that we came awful close recently to doing the 4th roll because of an unfortunate combination of things.
Uh-huh.
But we did manage to salvage it, so that was fun. So here we go. We can't use the first roll that comes up when you first pull up the site, of course. That's just another little thing that we do. So,
But of course, it is populated.
yep. So what is the things that we cannot use?
So it is one each of a genre, rule, setting, and theme. The genre is open world. The rule is you are your enemy.
Hmm.
The setting is dystopia, and the theme is rich versus poor.
Little
Okay.
on the nose.
A little bit, but okay. I mean, not the strongest combination, I don't think. So and
Fortunately, it's not even an option.
I'm not sad that we're not able to do that one.
All right, first roll.
Let's go.
Boop. Okay. One each. And the genre is farming.
Oh boy.
Let's see.
The rule is strength in numbers.
Okay.
The setting is zombie.
All right.
And the theme is lost love.
Oh dear.
It's Plants vs. Zombies.
I
Growing season.
that really is.
Question
isn't it?
Gross.
Well,
And on to roll number 2.
yeah, okay.
Pardon my incessant wheezing tonight. The air quality here, while not as bad as the eastern states and of course Canada, is making my asthma come back from
Yeah.
when I was in my early teens.
It's still not super good around these parts, so we'll power through.
I will wheeze laugh the rest of the night. Roll number 2 it is.
Roll number 2. Yeah, I don't think we're doing that first one.
This is actually kind of interesting. Okay, so we have
Okay.
2 genres, one each of a rule setting theme. The first genre is run and gun.
Ooh,
hmm
like that already.
And the second genre is real-time strategy.
Huh.
Yeah. The rule, magic gone wrong.
Okay.
The setting is mythology. So you have guns and mythos now, whatever. And the theme is
Magical guns.
spy thriller.
Spy.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
I mean, it's certainly an interesting and diverse group.
That is a mix.
you keep
for
waiting
sure.
until the last thing to like throw a wrench in it. Like,
Well,
I
that's what I
start to
do.
get something figured out,
Mhm,
and then it's like, oh no.
Mythological spy thriller. Real-time strategy, run and gun. Magic gone wrong. Wow. Huh.
I feel like I could work with it if you took out the spy thriller part, but I don't know what to do with that.
Kratos as James Bond.
Hmm.
Wait, that's Mission Impossible. Damn it.
Get close.
Fucking 5-4. It's so
The-
catchy.
The other major spy
Da-da,
series.
boom, ba-da, boom, ba-da, ba-da-da.
There you go. That's the one. Oh boy. See, if we give up this one, we're subjecting ourselves to the
Yeah.
final roll again.
Yeah, but that's what we do.
It
A
really
lot of the time, it
is.
doesn't have to be what we do. This is rather unique,
It's,
obviously.
Yeah, it's a hell of a mix. I just don't.
I mean,
I don't know what to do
okay.
with it.
What if? Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh
Did you
no!
just torpedo the entire thing right there?
You know what the name of this game is?
Oh no!
Is it a Gods with
Is
Guns
this
sequel?
another? Oh my god!
You just had to think of it
I mean,
for a little bit
you're
after I
kind of
said
right.
that.
You're kind of right, honestly.
This is the Spy RTS edition of Gods with Guns.
Ah, yes, the early '90s PC version.
This is the Metal Gear Solid 1 of Gods with Guns.
Oh man, yeah.
All right,
you
top
know
down
what?
3D time. Sure, why not?
Yeah, this is the transition into 3D for the Gods with Guns series.
Oh no, it
What's
sounds
the-
like we're building this.
Oh, no.
Was that
it
one
does
3D
sound
or
like it.
not? I forget what.
Metal Gear
the-
Solid was.
Metal Gear
No,
Solid
no, no,
was,
no.
for
Gods
sure.
with Guns.
Oh, that's a good question.
Why
I
don't you
remember
look?
what we did for the actual.
Oh,
like,
boy.
We always have to go back and look
we
at something
we
we've
really
already done.
do. I think Gods with Guns is probably the most back-referenced one now.
I thought that one was supposed. I feel like half of that is the title. To be honest, that was just such
Yeah,
a good
that
pull.
was-
I mean, there were like several subtitles.
The
don't
way
worry
that
about
I remember it, it was supposed to be like Quake-like gameplay or something along those lines.
Oh,
but-
it was an FPS.
Yeah.
The title gets me.
it. All right, read it off.
Dueling Deities, Bloody Hell featuring Gods with Guns, Part 3.5, Gods Gun Wild.
Masterpiece.
It really is.
It's perfect. We need to make the prequel.
Is it a prequel or a sequel? Or is it an alternate universe?
I don't know.
Presquel.
Good question. I mean, the first one is technically Part 3.5, so I mean, you
That's true.
could have like 2.5
Put
prequels.
this anywhere in the chronology of Gods with Guns.
The Gods with Guns extended universe.
Ah, yes, we can even like pull a hat trick from another game and say it's the time gun.
I mean, yeah. I want to keep this just for reference.
Excellent.
It sounds like we're probably leaning into this one, huh?
Okay, I'm good with it.
All right.
We won't roll the third one until after we're done making this game,
All right.
and then we will decide if we made a mistake.
I'm gonna preload the title with a Gods with Guns thing here.
Uh-huh. I got it.
Oh boy.
Gods with Guns, the begunning.
Oh no. Oh no, it's so stupid, but it's gonna work.
Game done.
It's a
we won.
It's a prequel. We've decided. All right. So
Perfect.
we've got to start.
All right, I should probably actually have this up in front of me.
Run and gun, real-time strategy, magic gone wrong, mythology spy thriller. Oh no.
Okay. I have something for this now.
Okay.
So, if we actually go off of the whole time gun thing,
Hmm.
that's the magic that went wrong.
So
Well-
the time magic went sideways, huh?
So this is the origin story, right? So we're trying to figure out how do we get from
So,
question mark beginning state to a bunch of demigods running around with high caliber weaponry.
this turns it into the pre-sequel, though.
So something went wrong with the time gun technology or whatever.
And now we're
That
before
has now
the
sent
everything
us
else.
back before part 3.5.
So, like, okay, you have the
Stupid.
opening cinematic, and then the one piece of dialogue after all of that is, well, fuck. That's it.
Back to before part 3.5. Okay.
You got a misfire there, buddy.
Yeah. That's a much better word for failure. I like that. Experimental time gun misfire sends our protagonists back to before part 3.5.
All right.
There's our hook. We've got the MacGuffin to open the prequel.
I love it. This is obviously extremely mythological so
Mhm,
far because
very
we have
much.
gods.
So maybe the RTS portion of things comes in where like you have all of these demigods who have been transported back in time and they're trying to organize factions to influence the past to affect the future in a way that would benefit them. So
Yeah,
like,
sure, why not?
Or are
your,
they?
your playable characters and or central enemies are the demigods from part 3.5, and then they're
But before they met up, so they're technically they don't know. The part 3.5 demigods don't know about the ones who traveled back in time before part 3.5 because they hadn't had the chance to
Right.
meet yet, and
So the
time
begunning
paradoxes.
is really after part 3.5. Like, in character knowledge, it's after the events of 3.5, but chronologically, it's before.
Yeah, I guess what I had going in my head is
Yes.
the demigods know each other, they know what happened in 3.5, but no one else does, and so they're building teams of these local time, acolytes or whatever
I
Hmm.
see.
to
I
fight
see,
each
I
other
see.
to try and, influence things so that 3.5 happens differently than it did.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
interesting. So you have to recruit other magical beings that may not quite be demigod level, and you could seduce them with the idea of power.
Okay.
You can lean heavily into the time travelers playing God trope too.
Yeah,
mean-
halfway literally, yeah.
They are playing themselves. Ooh. Honestly? Hey.
I mean, yeah. They're commanding units on the field, so they're commanding themselves as well to
Yeah, but I mean, like, the tropey twist here is that they've been playing themselves the whole time.
So now, when this time gun misfire happens and they go back in time, do they meet their previous selves? So they're commanding themselves. In a very weird, dumb, literal sense.
To have a Batman moment would be kind of funny, but
That's Spider-Man.
whatever. They're all the same. I did not grow up with superheroes. I'm sorry.
Spider Bat.
I don't like it. Ugh, I don't like it. I think no. We are not putting wings on a spider. Fuck you.
Took that a little too literally.
Ugh. All right,
Incredible.
brain bleach time.
Okay,
Go.
so the objective is to recruit magical beings, other followers, and acolytes, and your past self to support your cause in returning to the future or trying to ensure your future as a demigod occurs.
I think it's like
To find a way back to the future, probably.
finding a way back. Maybe like finding a way
Okay.
that makes the future more likely for you to succeed in it. I don't know.
No, I think honestly,
Just trying
they
to
just
find a way
want to
back.
find
Yeah.
their way back, and they don't care what they fuck up in the meantime.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
They're
more on
gods; they don't
brand.
have to care.
Okay. So, my past self to support your cause in returning to the future, present, while also maybe ensuring that future, present, still happens.
Sure, that seems good.
Okay, good. The time travel stuff is weird.
Yes.
All right, so inventory mechanics. So we've gone back in time. We're recruiting folks.
Ooh.
What are we doing with them?
So we have to collect. Okay, so firstly, let's decide what happens when the time gun misfires. Does it like shatter into a bunch of pieces across the eras? Does it?
Are we reusing the time gun to get back to the future?
Yes.
Present. Okay.
But I want to know how the time gun gets fucked.
Like what happens to it that makes it so they can't just immediately use it again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
Does it disassemble based on the flow of time going backwards? Back into its component parts?
Oh, maybe.
I actually really like that.
Maybe they get sent to back before the time gun was created, and they have to recreate the time gun because that's
That.
where.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I like. Okay. Needlessly convoluted. Yes, that's what this game should be.
I'm going to capitalize time gun as a proper noun now.
Seems good. Seems good. Yes, do not fuck the time gun. I agree.
Uh,
We're not dragons. Come
okay.
Drag gun.
Eh,
on. Ooh.
boss idea.
Enter the Gungeon does that.
Yeah.
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 They've got a lot of very good
Can't
gun
cop
puns
too
there.
many of the gun puns.
No. I don't think they did the begunning though. I like that though.
You're welcome.
Might be
So
slightly more original than everything else we've done.
back to the inventory concept. My
mhm.
thinking is like the whole, since this is happening after Gods with Guns 3.5, the weapons from Gods with Guns 3.5 would presumably come with their respective characters. Like, each
Okay.
of these demigods would have like one of the guns from the previous game. And
Okay.
since you're back in time, there's nothing else that's like those guns. So like you have a unique, weapon for each character.
Okay.
So, an idea would be that this is a mythical relic that was used improperly, which is why it got destroyed. And whatever gun the rest of those who were transported back have, they need to use those unique powers in order to reconstruct history so that the gun is made.
From their gun?
Yes.
Ah.
Okay.
So we're building in a paradox here
So they're
because
they're
the time gun
ultimately going to be-
existed along with their stuff in the present.
and they're going to be the ones responsible for it being created and then ultimately mishandled, and that's sending them back and resuming the
Time loop.
yeah. Okay.
We're not resolving the time loop in this game.
Oh, no,
that could
no,
be
no,
the
no,
next
no,
yeah.
game.
No,
Absolutely not.
This
That's
game
like-
is
That's like part 7 or something. You know? It's-
That's the shocker at the very end. Like, hey, we did it. We're doing this thing. We go back to the future. Ah, fuck. Just like the beginning. Well, fuck. There we go.
okay.
It ends and begins with the same dialogue. There you go.
Oh no, you trying to pull a Lufia on us?
Yeah, why not? Definitely brought that idea up recently.
Yep. I think we brought that up last show as well.
That was my one of my predictions for Tears of the
Hmm.
Kingdom.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, I will say I was on the right track with that. It wasn't exactly like that, but I was on the
That's
right track.
Close, right?
Yeah.
totally not related to Gods with Guns the Beginning, but you've reminded me that the intro to Tears of the Kingdom is like actually really kind of frustrating, and I did not like it. But anyways, moving on.
But now that you're past it, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thinks back to Final Fantasy X. Anyway,
it set the mood, but it was one of those things where like you really just should have made it a cutscene. But
that's fair.
that's IMO.
Okay, so what's the RTS bit of this? You're building your army, followers, whatever.
Squad
Squad
cult.
group, collection, federation of demigods
Mhm.
to reconstruct this time gun to get back to your present, future, whatever.
Mhm.
And that's where it ends, really.
But in the
Um,
process, you're fighting against the rival demigods that are trying to do the same thing.
Are you fighting against multiple instances of yourself because this is a time loop?
I don't know if we want to get
Is that too tropey?
that seems
Okay.
a little. I don't know if we want to wait. So like the vibe I get is like this is we're doing the silly time stuff as an excuse to have the gameplay and the
Mhm,
zany story interactions rather than like leaning into it as
All right, so
getting
not
cerebral.
Not that much. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've actually played an actually good RTS. I haven't played probably one
Yeah.
since StarCraft.
Hmm.
So, so what's the deal? Is this like split up into individual missions, or is this just kind of like we're roaming some map and we get into little fights with our little squads and
I mean,
find the bits and put them together, and that's the end?
so if we really wanted to make this more approachable, I guess, we could say that each individual god that was transferred back in time has their own mission to recover whatever special relic that they had individually to them,
Mm-hmm.
and have to go through some stupid story convoluted reason for recruiting enough help, finding the right resources to get their shit back, and winning that mission.
And then maybe so you get your own part of the time gun, and the
Yep.
other missions are fighting the other demigods to steal their time gun pieces or win them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you can even do it from
Collect
the approach of, well, fuck, we all got here together. We all need to help each other get back. So
Mhm.
each demigod has to go through their own trial to get their piece of the time gun
That
back.
sounds way too congenial and coordinated for the
For a bunch of gun gods.
chaotic atmosphere of this.
Well,
crew.
no. Okay. So hear me out. So the game is all buddy, and the time loop starts again because someone uses the time gun again at the very end, and it starts the loop over again. They got sick of working with each other. One tried to fuck over the other one's, fired the time gun, it misfired again, and it starts the loop again.
What?
So, okay, I think I see where you're going with this. So you do all that, you get to the end bit, you got like 10 different demigods you can play as, or whatever. Whoever you play as determines who's one of the other demigods that fucks with the time gun and starts the time loop again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Okay, I guess I can see it.
So there's your 10 different endings. Or
Oh,
whatever.
And it's like an RPG. Yeah, okay. I get you.
All right.
That needs to be a pun in the game.
I mean, it is a sort of type of gun, you're right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm.
Gods with Guns, the beginning of the RPG.
Ugh. I do like double colons, though. That's hilarious.
It is. And Knuckles.
We're not on the 32X, sorry.
Damn.
We've kind of ignored the spy thriller bit of this, probably intentionally, huh?
Well, okay, so the
actually,
missions-
You kind of brought it back though with whole like one of the 10 is betraying the
Oh,
other
okay.
ones
Yeah.
because like you've got like the mistrust and everyone's suspecting each other of trying to do that. What?
What?
Gods with Guns, the beginning of the RPG. The gun who shot me.
Really?
I don't know.
I'll replace the RPG with that. That's fun.
Okay,
but-
that's fine.
Okay, that's a tie into a spy thriller. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
So along the way, you're trying to figure out which idiot is going to betray the group.
Yes.
If you find out and you do the thing which prevents them, that's the good ending, right? And maybe there's the break of the time loop because nobody
Not
fucks it up
supposed to
again.
come up with the resolution yet. Okay,
Hey,
it's fine.
I mean, like, but then there's 9 or 20 bajillion other endings where you don't fix it. So
fair.
there you go.
That's fair.
Gotta have your bad end and your good end and your perfect end and your true end and your dog end and your whatever, right?
Bark, bark, bark. Bark,
Everyone's-
bark, 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 bark.
So everyone's playing the paranoid game where they think that one of the other 9 or one of the other 10 is going to like try and
Right.
take the gun to use it for themselves. So that kind of drives your spy intrigue.
Okay, I've been thoroughly distracted by Silent Hill 2 now. Anyway.
So figure out which demigod is plotting to use the time gun for their own ends. to achieve the true ending, I guess. Okay. This has evolved into a shitpost of a game. I'm okay with that.
As it do.
As gods with guns tend to do, right?
Yes, this is true.
I
They're
feel
very
like
self-aware.
this is a much more like serious game than the last one as far as these things go.
Yeah, it is.
It's okay to have a tone shift.
Yeah. That's what makes multiple games in a series more interesting rather than having 5 of the same game. Or 3.5 of the same game.
Well, presumably, I don't know. That whole bit's kind of nebulous yet.
Don't worry about it.
We'll come up with a story reason for it someday.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've introduced time travel shenanigans, we can basically number the series however we want
Right.
and just use that as an excuse.
I mean,
So
this might be the first actual like series that we've leaned into.
It's true.
I mean, aside from the meta that we did last time with
Yeah.
Shuffleboard Heroes,
Which-
Shuffleboard Royale.
Also went back in time.
Did it?
I think so.
Oh no, you're gonna make me look, aren't you?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I was already gonna look. Oops, that's the wrong one.
These sins are repeatable.
I don't know that this
Oh
was.
no. We leaned into the title of the show.
you sure did.
We
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yep.
Didn't think of that. That's
I
good.
don't- No, there wasn't any time travel in this making of Shuffleboard Heroes Royale. Whatever.
Okay.
Shuffleboard Royale leisures other demons.
Nice.
Yes, it's a battle royale game now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to go back and watch that one.
That one's stupid.
It's extremely stupid.
But the stupid ones are the best.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we need to film the rest of this.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
flexible enough.
Input method, graphic style, audio style, POV has all been kind of
It's fine.
less important of late, so
It's
I'm
fine.
cool with leaving that. But we've got a weird time mechanic. We've got spy thriller. Got a double colon title. Got everything.
Yep. I love it. Ship it.
All right, I'm cool with it.
Roll number 3.
Sure, just to see what we could have had if we had
Oh boy.
not gone with this thing.
Time gun shoot. Okay. So we have 2 genres again, 1 rule, setting, and theme. Genre number 1 is co-op. Genre number 2 is proc gen. The rule is take 1, leave the rest. The setting is Western, and the theme is isolation. We made the right choice.
Yeah,
I
think
don't
we
know.
did.
It seems doable, but it also seems like it fits together so well that it's hard to come up with anything based on.
Yeah.
It's probably less creative than
Yeah.
Gods with Guns, the begunning, the gun that shot me.
Yeah. I love it.
Boy. Now, will we learn from our sins?
Absolutely not.
Not in the slightest.
Probably not. Almost certainly not. But okay. All right, we're coming to the end of insert credits then. Anything else we need to impart? Otherwise, we can call it a night.
I like sleep.
Sleep's good. Get sleep. Get all sleep. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I'm Mr. Bond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Vlad.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track, a remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclock University. Good night, everybody.
Adios.